All right, welcome to the Sweet Talk. Today is Saturday, October 30th, 2021. At least here in the United States, it's October 30th. I have a special edition today, and I am meeting with my good friend Tristan Heron from Australia. He is a high school English teacher down under, and I think it's actually October 31st for him at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I apologize again for that. But time zones, you just got to love them. So welcome to the show, Tristan.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much for having me again. It's so exciting. I'm very excited to be here and sharing with the Sweet Talk.
Yeah, paying it forward and tell us a little bit about
Absolutely.
what you do and your Evolve Edtech AU channel and everything that you're doing for the Aussie teachers down there.
Yeah, so I am the creator of Evolve Edtech. In the past, it used to be known as the EdTech Teacher. I decided in the middle of this year to do a little bit of a rebrand, and that's where Evolve Edtech has come from because I believe that EdTech is always evolving and our skills and our needs are always evolving. So I thought it was a bit of a better connection to my aim of what I wanted to do. So I try to, in my spare time, I'm a full-time teacher as well, but so it's a side gig, try to just create resources and materials and tutorials and things to help out my colleagues, not only here in Australia, but basically anywhere around the world. So that's my goal, is just to help share my love of EdTech with people everywhere.
Exactly. And pay it forward, right? Pay it forward,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you and I appreciate everything that you do and you put out some great resources. So you got to definitely follow Tristan on Twitter and Instagram at
Yes, come and
Evolve
follow.
Edtech AU. But why don't we dive right into what we're going to talk about today? I'm so excited
Sounds
to hear
great.
about Pixton because I've heard
Sounds
of it,
great.
but I never
Yeah.
really like dove into it. I never really used it. I just know it's there. So
Awesome. I'm going to take you through it, and I've got a beautiful presentation to go through, and I'm going to do a quick demo and things to show you how amazing this resource is. So, do you want to check the? There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. I've prepared this time, and it's looking it's
it
beautiful.
looks professional.
Thank you. I spent my time this week. I had a COVID scare this week, so I had some spare time to work on this. So so that's where that's come from.
We want
So
you to stay COVID free.
I certainly want to stay COVID free too. So everyone be safe. So Pixton is an amazing tool that I think I might have stumbled across it a few years ago, and I've kind of picked it up because it's something that I found was really useful for a particular unit of work that we have at my school with U9, where we explore graphic novels. And the task that the students are required to do is to create a part of a graphic novel. And normally, traditionally, we would get students to do this on paper, and we would get students to draw it. And I was thinking, I often had, the middle range kids, the lower ability kids that weren't interested in drawing. So I was thinking, what could I do to engage them in this particular activity? And that's where Pixton came in. So I started to use Pixton to try and engage these kids and to get something out of them rather than struggling and fighting with them. So that's kind of where my interest in Pixton came from. And I've just continued to use it in different ways for a number of years now. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. All right. If you want or you'd like a copy of this slide deck, you can go up there to the QR code and you can grab a copy of yourself if you'd like. So I'm just going to go through a few things today, and this won't take forever. I'm just going to go through what Pixton is, just talk about privacy, because I know that's a really important thing when it comes to obviously our students. Just talk about how easy it is to sign up, show you a few things when it comes to your dashboard, creating a classroom in Pixton so that you can use it with your students. I'll just very quickly go through some of the features and give you a bit of a demo. very quickly thought about some lesson ideas that you could use Pixton for, and I'll go through just the pricing of Pixton at the end as well, because I think it's really important that people are aware of that. So what is Pixton? Essentially, Pixton is a comic creation website where students can make and share their own comics. Teachers can also make and share their own comics, which is really cool. So I often, when I am introducing Pixton to the class, I'll often make a comic as part of my demo so that they can see how easy it is to use this tool. So it's essentially just an online web tool for students to create comics or graphic novels in a really interactive and engaging way.
So when you say it's quick or easy, is the interface very easy to use and adapt to so that there's not a big learning curve?
Yeah, look, and I often say to the kids that you can't really do anything wrong. So if I often set them up to go, just experiment with it for the first part before you get into actually working on what you would like to create. It's really adaptive that it doesn't give you too many options at once. So you might be doing something and the options and things that you can choose from are contextual based on what you are choosing to do. So it's really easy, it's really accessible. It's not hard to fix if you do something that you don't like or you want to change something. And I think the ease of Pixton is what makes it so accessible to students. And I've got an example from a student who very low ability, very limited literacy levels, who actually sat with me and worked on this particular assessment task that we had for our students. And at one stage, I was making suggestions about what to do, and he was telling me no. So that's how much he was actually engaged in this particular activity. He was like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't like that. So for me to get that from him, it was out of this world.
Yeah, rewarding.
It was so rewarding, and I was so pleased, and it was just a fantastic feeling. So, and I'll show you that shortly when we go and have a look. But it is definitely really simple to use for sure.
Okay.
So Pixton do care about privacy, so they are COPA and FERPA compliant. So you have all of those there, so you don't need to worry about that if that's something that you have to. It's a little bit different over here in Australia, but I do know that's something that you might need to be aware of in other parts of the world. So they are definitely big on making sure that they are looking after the privacy of the students. And I think the most significant part is that the students don't actually need their own accounts to use Pixton.
Okay, that's good.
It is, and I'll show you what how that works in a sec. So they don't need their own accounts, which is good. So I think that's a big plus for Pixton. All right, so it's really easy to sign up to Pixton. It is free to access, but there are paid options, which I'll talk about later. And I think the paid version is well worth the money, and it's something that I continuously invest in. So I'll show you that later. So to join up to Pixton, you just head to pixton.com. When you go to Pixton, it will give you a couple of options when it comes to what type of account you would like to create. Obviously, as educators, we should be choosing the educator account, not the student account, and probably not the business account, because that's not our real purpose and aim. One of the probably the only downsides is that you need to sign up with either your Google email address, Microsoft, or your Facebook account. You can't actually sign up with another email address, so you need to use one of those particular credentials. But that's only a small thing that, when it comes to it. So this is Pixton when you head over to pixton.com, and if you click on the sign up button, all right, here are those different account types that I was mentioning. You would choose the educator account, okay, because obviously we want to take this from the perspective of the teacher, so we need to make sure that we choose the educator account. And it's taken me straight into my account here. But you'll see the login page, which will ask you to choose how you'd like to sign up. So this is your educator dashboard, and it's really quite simple, which is nice because some educator dashboards can get a little bit overwhelming. So this one is nice and clean, nice and simple. You can see here that these are all of my classes that I've created with different students across different years. So they're all available from me. We've got some lesson ideas. We've got the help center if you get stuck, which is really great. Along the top here, you can actually see all the comics that you create as the teacher. So as I mentioned, I like to create comics with the students when I'm showing them how to create and how to use Pixton. So these are actually comics that I've created as examples to show them how to use the various features. Now, this one here, my content packs, I'll talk about this one a little bit later, but Pixton have all of these fantastic pre-created content packs. So if you're looking at, say, something like ancient Egypt, the kids will be able to find really cool images and graphics and backgrounds related to ancient Egypt. So rather than
so they don't have to search for it all.
No, absolutely not. So they can go in there and you can see, look at all these really cool backgrounds. We've got objects, we've got characters, and we've got costumes. We've got all of these different elements in this content pack. And the great thing about these content packs, let me go back, is that they have all different kinds. So we've got 4th of July. You'll also find that there might be some, around the world in 80 days, Black History. There's all different kinds of content packs that students can access and use, which I think is amazing when it comes to Pixton. So I'll talk a little bit about those at the end when I talk about the pricing. But I think that is something outstanding that Pixton does, is create these packs, and they're always creating more, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I just created an account as you're speaking, and I'm in the dashboard, and I see if there's a big difference between the content that you have and the content that I have.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that at the end when I talk about the pricing. So it's one of the small things, but there's a way to be able to access all of those content packs in a pretty reasonable price. Now you can actually save student comics that you might find really outstanding, or that you find a great exemplars. So you could actually go into your into your classrooms and save really great examples that you can refer to later, and you can share with other students when you're using this again, which I think is a really great feature as well. And Pixton have some really cool little printables here. So, there's a few things here that you can print if you'd like to, take Pixton from just being on the computer and actually incorporate it into your classroom and your teaching practice. So that's your teacher dashboard, which is, there's some really cool, funky stuff on there that can definitely engage the kids and continue it into the classroom. All right, so let's get into it, I think. So it's really easy to create a class. You just head up to the top right-hand corner, you click on New Classroom, and this is where we create our class. So let's call mine the Sweet Talk. And this is where you get to choose your grade level. So what particular grade that you are teaching. So I'm going to say here, let's go post-secondary, because then you can allocate. This isn't really necessarily really important. It's probably just more to help them out a little bit. Choose what subject you are teaching, or what subject this particular activity is related to. So we might go here. Let's go computers and tech. Okay. The really great thing is that before students get started, they have to create their own avatar, which is really fun. I love this part of the program. Now, there's some really great features here to make sure that we are including every different type of person out there. So we can allow students to use wheelchairs in their avatars. We can show hearing aids and also show non-binary gender, which I think is great because they're really focused on including all of those different students that we might be teaching in our classrooms. So you can include those, you can remove those. It's completely up to you. So as I mentioned, the students don't need their own accounts. They can use their Google ID. I've never done that myself. I've always used this other option here where I input the students' names and I get their usernames created for me by Pixton. So you can get them to use their Google IDs, but that's not something that I do personally myself. I get this one here where I input my students and it generates their student IDs. So if I let's put Kim in here, and I'll put myself in here, and that's all good. Okay, continue. So I've added myself and Kim to our class. This is the login code that you would give to the kids. And this is what they would take to their web browser. So they would take this login code. So if I probably should just copy it like that. And if I go over here to a new tab, I pop this login code, it's going to take it straight to our class page. So the students are going to log into the class page using their username. So if we go back to here, we can see that this is Kim's username here. If Kim takes that username, she pops it into Pixton there. It's going to take her into her Pixton page within our class. So this is the first thing, as I was mentioning, they get to make their own avatar, which is really great. So they work through a process of creating their avatar to represent themselves within this particular program. So it personalizes it a little bit.
Yeah, I like that.
So if we go back to my account and we go to say, this is my year 12 class from this year. These are some of the avatars the students created. So some of them went a little bit silly and they thought they'd be a little bit funny, but you know what? Hey,
It's
let
okay.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, let them. And then some of them, you know, they were really cool. And I think the one thing I love about the avatars is you can create this class photo.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
So
neat.
it puts all the avatars into
That's
this class
cute.
photo. How cool is that?
That's cool. Yeah.
And then you can actually change the theme. So it's almost summertime here in Australia, so we can change the theme.
Look at that. That's cool.
I just think it's so much fun. We could have dinosaurs, you know, it's just a little bit of a way of making it a little bit more interesting and engaging for the kids. So I think that's one thing that's really cool. The other really cool thing is that within Pixton, the students can use each other's avatars as characters, which is really cool. So they could actually use each other in their stories, which is really fun.
That's cool.
So that's something that I find to be, you know, just a little bit special. And, you know, you get the kids that work on it really hard to try and represent themselves. And then you get the kids that are like, nah, I'm just going to do something crazy. And I think good on them. Good on them.
So how long do you keep, how long do they take time to do this in your class to make an avatar?
I try
5-10 minutes?
I try to go, you know, probably no more than maybe no more than half an hour. Like that's probably.
Oh yeah, you go that long?
Yes, because if they're engaged, I'm going to go do it. But I often go, don't spend 80 minutes creating your avatar. You know, try to get your avatar created as quickly as you can, because we don't want to be wasting all of our time on one single character. So, you know, I definitely would put a max on it, but you know, if they're there and they're playing around with combinations and thinking, let them do it.
Let them do
Let them
it.
do it. Yeah.
Because they only do it once anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let them do it. All right. So once we've created our class, what I'll do is I'll go back here. Where's our class? It's disappeared. All right, I'll take you into Pixton just to show you very quickly how easy it is to use Pixton. They're my examples. Where's it gone? Always when you're doing something live.
Exactly.
Here it is. Here it is. Okay. Oh, mate. Shook my earbud out. Okay, so I'll actually go back to here because I need to go here. Okay, so to create your comic, it's really easy. And the really great thing about Pixton is you can't do anything wrong. If you do something you don't like, it's really easy to fix it. Now, what I like is this is the interface, and it's really simple, which I think is the benefit of Pixton, and it's actually contextual. So you have pretty much your four main areas. You have your backgrounds, you have your characters, you have your focus, and you have your words. So they're the four main areas of Pixton that you are going to work on. Over here on the left-hand side, these are your panels. And the really great thing, just like most things, the three dots mean more features. So we've got those features to insert a panel, duplicate, copy, download, etc. So the three dots give us more functions and features. All right, so the first page here is to put in our background. So maybe we choose something like this one here. It looks like a school, looks like some learning. So we've got our background. We can also search for something. So maybe we want to go to, I don't know if there's anything Australia. No, there's no Australia there. But let's do a classroom again. And we'll get some different types of classroom backgrounds that we can choose from. So if students can't find something they're looking for, they just need to head up to the search bar and type in something, and they'll be hopefully able to find something that suits what they're looking for. So that is how you add your backgrounds. Obviously, every panel that you create can actually have a different background, which is really great. So at the moment, it's duplicated the same one, but we can actually really easily just change it for whatever the story is being, whatever the story is, whatever's happening in the story.
Yeah.
So that's the background, which is really easy. You've got a couple of features down here. So at the moment, it's daytime. We've got probably dusk.
Oh, wow.
We can change it to nighttime. We've also got, and again, so we can make it a bit funky. We can make it a bit retro looking. So we've changed the background there, the color of the up here. We can chuck in some weather, so we could actually make it rainy, windy, light. We've got some lightning.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah.
There's
That's
so
cool.
many features. There's also, we can use these overlays here if we like. That one's not, don't know what that one's doing. Oh, it's because it's nighttime. That's why we can't see it. There we go.
Okay.
So we've got, a bit of it. That's that obviously comic element there. And we can also upload our own images, which is really cool as well if we'd like to use something in our comic. So that's the background. Now, the characters is really cool. So as I mentioned, these four tabs expand when you actually are using a particular one of these tabs. So we're on the characters now. And if we add a character, so let's go and choose this person here. I think you can add quite a few characters to your scenes. I think that the most we worked out is about 5. So you can add them, you can move them around, you can change their positioning as well. So at the moment, this person's facing the left. We can actually change her so she faces the right, which I will show you in a second. Again, you can choose and change their outfit. So maybe we would like to put her in an airport. So, we've got a pilot now. So we can change their outfits and make them, particular for the story or what we're telling. We can also go and change colors. So we can change their looks a little bit. We can change their hairstyles. So there's a lot of features that you can actually customize yourself. It's not perfect, but you can create some really great stories from Pixton. So that's the characters. You'll actually see that we've actually got a couple more tabs that have popped up here. So because we're using the characters, we can also go over and adjust her face and her facial expressions. Again, we can always search for them. We can change her eye color on her, her eye shape. So we can go and adjust those. And the actions tab, this is where we can change what she's actually doing. So what the character's actually doing. So maybe she's, slapping herself in the face because something's happened. And this is where we can actually, if we go up to the hands up the top here, we can actually start to put objects in their hands. So this is where we can start to, really create the characters and start to tell a story using Pixton. Oh, here it is. So this is where we change the way that the character is facing. So now if we change her, she'll be facing towards us.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then we can change her to the right where she'll now be facing towards the right. So there's lots and lots of things that you can do here. The focus tab, and I know this is very quick for everybody. The focus tab is really great. And this one actually really connects to the background. So it kind of links into those camera shots. So we could have a full shot here where we've got some background and we've got some flowers. We might actually take that really strange. And the really great thing is if you do something you don't want, you just go and find the off button here to remove it. So it's really easy to take something that you don't want off. So you just go and essentially clear it from your panel so that you can work on what you've got. So the focus is really great. Maybe we want to get a bit closer to them because we want to see their face or we want to see something that they're saying or doing. So we've got those different focus elements there. All right, the next one is the words tab. So obviously if we had multiple characters in here, we'd actually be able to choose each character separately to choose what they're going to say. You've got a couple of options. So we've got speech bubbles, thought bubbles. We can make our characters shout, and we can also show that the character is whispering. Each one of these is actually represented in a different way. So maybe let's have her shout hello. And we always click the tick to make sure it goes in. And you will see that this will be in that kind of jagged bubble here to indicate that the character is shouting. So if we went to change that to just speaking normally, you'll see that it's gone to a nice oval. So yeah, so you can tell what the characters are doing when you actually have them in your story. So it's really easy to use, and I think the kids, the best way to be successful with Pixton is to just experiment and see what you come up with, and give them plenty of time, and give them plenty of time to try and see what they can come up with. The first time you do it, it might not be perfect. Yeah. It's definitely not going to be perfect. But I think every time they continue to work on it and get used to it, it will become far more effective, and they will start to really learn how to tell the story in a really effective way. So I just very quickly, I did mention about the young man that I worked with who is very low with literacy levels, and I actually sat with him to do this. So I did the typing, but he was the one telling the story and deciding what would happen. And he actually, I was making suggestions about what to do and how to progress the story. And I was actually being told, no, I don't like that. I don't want that to happen. But for this young man, this story, this was a huge achievement.
Yeah.
This was a huge, huge achievement. And I was so proud of getting this from him. So that, that's awesome. The power.
Yeah.
This one here, I'll show you this one because this is actually from one of my Year 12 students And she did this when we had a bit of remote learning a few months ago. And she, English is not her first language. In fact, I think English is about her third language. So it was really hard for me to try and help her with using Pixton in a remote setting. But she did this all on her own. And I am just absolutely amazed at what she did, considering I wasn't there to provide that one-on-one guidance and assistance. So for her to be able to, have different backgrounds and different characters and to put in different text types, and we've got some, some captions and things, is just,
That's awesome.
it made me feel so so happy and proud of her to be able to do that all by herself. So there's so many things that you can do with Pixton. It takes time. It does involve a lot of experimentation and basically just trying and seeing what works, but that also brings it into the feedback cycle that that we have, that you can provide to the students. I had a student a couple of years ago who put in so much text, like there was so much that it was overlapping and you couldn't read it. And I was like, that's too much text. We shouldn't be having that much text in a story like this, because it's not the purpose of the story. The text is only minimal. We should be using the images to help us tell the story. So, it's a really great way to kind of engage kids in something that's different, something that's not a traditional, we're just doing a report or we're just doing something by hand. We're using those ICT skills. We're using those design skills. We're using all of those different elements of English and language as well to create something that they can use to express themselves or express an idea or, get something across to an audience. So,
yeah, I totally agree. I think because you're using a different setting and platform, kids are going to be more curious and engaged about it, and
absolutely,
then
absolutely.
for them to present their information in there, I think it's a little bit more convincing to them to do the work.
Yeah, and I think we've got to look at ways to engage all of our students. So for me, I knew that my students in my classes, when we were doing the graphic novel, weren't going to do it by hand. They weren't kids that wanted to draw. So rather than fighting them, I found a solution to get them engaged, to keep them engaged, but also to make them feel successful and achieve something as well.
Yeah,
So
without
it's
being
about making
frustrated.
yeah, and I didn't want to be frustrated. I didn't want to have to contact parents about them not submitting something. So it was about doing my job and making sure that I catered for all of their different abilities as well. So that's something that Pixton, in my own experience, it's something that I found really powerful and successful.
Now,
So I thought
Tristan,
about, yes,
really, I got a really quick question. Are you able to? You said you can put captions in the images,
yeah,
but is that a brief caption, or is there an area where you can put like a description of what's
yep,
going
yep.
on
So
in the scene?
yeah, absolutely. So you've got 3 different caption types. So this one is just in your words section of
Oh,
Pixton
okay,
here. It's just up the top here. So you can put it at the top, you can put a caption
okay,
in the middle, and you can put it at the bottom. I think the caption limit is 400 characters. So you can get a pretty good description in 400 characters to set the scene and to provide the
yeah,
context of what's happening quite easily. So yeah, absolutely. So we could put here, this is my first day on the job. So we could do something like that, and that's going to appear at the top of our panel here.
okay.
We could put it down the bottom if we wanted to. But yeah, you can definitely add those captions to provide that context to help drive and move the story forward, definitely. And I often tell the kids that you don't need to have dialogue in every panel. Use a
Yeah,
caption,
use the
use the
caption. Yeah,
captions because it's about the images. It's about what we can see as we're reading through the different panels and looking at the story being told. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I
yes,
totally agree. Yeah, I'm glad that you showed that because I was wondering where that would be.
yeah,
Um,
and I think this is the thing is like there's so much that I can't go through every
oh
single
no, of course
part
not.
of Pixton.
Yeah.
It's even really hard demoing it to a class because it could take you 40, 50 minutes just to get through and show them how to do everything. So you kind of have to go, here's those main elements and
Yeah.
show them. And then if they want something particular, that's when you kind of have that one-on-one tutorial with the student and say, oh, let me help you and let me guide you to show you how to do that. So, Pixton is fantastic. It has lots of great things. It's not perfect by all means, but it provides enough to get the kids started with an activity. Absolutely. So I thought about and just very quickly, I was just thinking about some ways you could use Pixton in the classroom. So obviously, if you want to create a comic, it's a fantastic resource. That's the point of Pixton. Maybe if you have some social stories, so you need to be able to get some stories to create so that your students understand, how to, how to behave with other people,
Digital
especially
citizenship kind of.
digital
Yeah.
citizenship, text summaries. So if you're studying a text, you might get students to do a summary using Pixton. So rather than writing heaps of summary notes, we use some images. I've got here, we might create a biography of somebody. Okay. Instead of writing it and making a presentation, maybe we do a biography to show something significant in their life or their experience. We might do some stories about behavior. Okay, what's expected in our classroom? How do we be nice to each other, especially if we have younger kids or students that have disabilities or delays or things. This might be a way of being able to help them understand what's right and what's wrong. Social and emotional learning, all of these things. Maybe we're summarizing historical events, looking at social issues, activism. So maybe we look at, different activism that's happening within our community or something that we're studying. Maybe we're exploring some maths. Let's show students or let's show our understanding of how to count or how to add. There's so many ways. Maybe we're using it to do
Yeah,
some
advertising.
advertising. Unit summaries, there's so many
There's so
ways
many
that you could
things.
use Pixton. And I think
Yeah.
it's only limited by your imagination. So I think, if you go, rather than it's writing a summary, let's see if we can summarize this particular idea using Pixton and some of those different images and graphics and options that are available. See what you can do. See how you can use a different tool in the classroom to essentially do something that you were doing already, but do it in a different way
Do in a
because
different way.
you might find it's really successful. It might fail, but that's okay. That's
Right.
how, as
You don't know
educators,
unless you
we
try.
learn. Absolutely.
Yep. Definitely.
All
I
right.
agree.
Okay, almost there. So I did mention that Pixton is free, but Pixton does also have some paid options. And this is what Kim was talking about when she signed up to Pixton and the content packs. Now, I pay for Pixton. So if anyone from Pixton is watching, hit me up. I would love to have a chat to you. Um, I pay for it because I find it an investment for my kids. One thing that really frustrates me is that obviously being down in Australia, I have to pay a lot of things in US dollars, which actually ends up costing me a lot more money than the advertised price because of the exchange rates and things. So
Oh,
um,
wow.
it makes me very sad, but I
Yeah,
know
that's
that
not right.
it's just life. So I often tell my kids that I bought this for them, and I tell them how much I paid for them. So I want them to feel that I am valuing them as individuals, and I'm doing this for them. So it's something that I am very happy to do and invest in. So let me just go and show you. Oh, I've lost my tab. One of these tabs here. All right. So lost my tab. Okay, that's the wrong. I had it all. I had it all set up, and of course, this is what happens when
That's
you. That's not going
okay.
to work. Okay. All right. So, all right. So there's a couple of options when it comes to Pixton. You can get good stuff for free. But the best way to get everything and get those different content packs is by purchasing them. So there's 3 options here. You can get a monthly pack where you get 1 content pack per month for $9.99. Now, you don't actually have a limit of students, which is really great. It's just about having those content packs. So if you just want to pay for it by the month, go for it. You also have the Access Everything option, which gives you all of those content packs that I showed you earlier for $24.99 a month. Now, that's probably great if you're just only going to use it for a short period of time, but the best plan is the $99 per year all access plan. So you get access to all of those different content packs for 12 months for $99. Okay, so you get to have as many classrooms, as many students as you would like within your Pixton account. So that's the one that I use because I figure if I'm going to pay for it, I want to be able to access it throughout the year because I never know when I would like to maybe use it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and, you know, rather than paying $25 every month, I'm paying $99 for a year and getting everything for that one price. So yes, it is free and it does have great features, but if you want to level up and elevate the features that the kids can use through the content packs, the all access, the annual all access plan is probably the one to go for. So if you have that ability or you are able to do that, it's something that I would suggest and recommend as a really good investment using Pixton and working with the kids and engaging them in their learning using this, you know, absolutely fantastic tool.
I tell you, I'm in here right now as you're talking, and I really like it. It's pretty cut and dry. There's
It
no,
is,
you
and
know,
I think, and that's what I say to the
there's no
kids, experiment.
hidden features here. It's all like
No,
you don't have to dig
yeah,
for stuff.
no, absolutely not. And you know, if they want a particular kind of character or they want a particular type of person or costume, they just search for it. You know, they just type in what they're looking for. It might come up, it might not come up, but it's simple to use. It's not complicated, and they can come up with something that's pretty good. You know, that'll do the job. You know, that's really simple, really engaging. You know, it's developing their literacy skills, it's developing their you know, ICT technology skills, it's, you know, developing their ability to communicate. You know, we're using all of these different life skills in one, you know, nice concise tool.
Now, Tristan, really quick, since you created classes with your students, you can
Yep,
see progress that they're doing throughout the whole
absolutely.
project.
So yeah, so you have access to the students' work throughout their project. So if I head to, let's go to this one here. So these are all the students that are in the class here. So if you go to, let's go to Patrick, because I know he did some stuff. You can see their comics as they're
Oh,
progressing. So
okay.
it's really, really useful. You can also provide feedback to your students as well as they're doing that. I can't remember how to do it, but you can actually provide feedback to your students
Right
through
in their
Pixton,
comic. Right in their comic.
right in their comic. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
I can't remember how to do it. Clearly, it's been a while, but you can, yes, you can provide direct feedback with their comics. Actually, no, I think it's this one. I can't remember, but you can, you definitely can do it. You
Yeah.
can add the feedback to their comics, which is really great. You can download them, you can print them as well, which is really great. You can share them. So you know, there's lots of features, there's lots of things that you can do with Pixton, and I think it's just a really cool tool that we could use to engage kids in a different way.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out. I really didn't know it had all those features and different options. I
Yeah.
just knew it was a comic strip tool for students to use and illustrate with, but I didn't know it had so many
Yeah, it's
different
got
features and things.
absolutely so many layers to it, but it's as you said, it's not complicated. There's not so many things that it's going to be unachievable for students, but it allows them to create something that's theirs.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like, once they see something different, like they're not just typing in a Google Doc or in a
Absolutely.
presentation, they're actually going to use a different tool. They're just naturally engaged to try to figure out what's available
Yeah.
and what they can do, and try to be something, you know, do something different than their neighbor.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you get a variety of different ideas, and you get a variety of different interpretations. Some are good and some are bad, but hey, it's different. It's
Yeah,
engaged if it engages them, and you get something out of them.
it's a
That's
win.
that's a success. Absolutely,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
totally agree. This was great, Tristan. I'm
Thank
really
you.
I'm really thankful that you were able to come on today and showcase this. This was really,
No, that's
I had no
it's
idea, how to use the tool and to, you know, all of the different features
absolutely,
and everything
and
about it. I had no
there's
idea.
it's too big to put into a quick a quick
Oh
web
yeah.
show, but it's worth going and experimenting with. It's one of those tools that if you don't see it and you don't experiment with it, you never use it. So hopefully somebody goes out there and has a go and sees if it works. It might not, but hey, go and try something.
Well, I always say that you always have to try, because if you don't try, you
Yeah,
don't know. And what's the worst thing that happens? You do it again.
absolutely,
It's not
absolutely.
it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
I mean, how many,
absolutely,
that's how we evolve and reflect and get better, is by
absolutely.
trying things out and making mistakes. So
Yeah,
I totally
absolutely.
agree. Yeah, this was great, Tristan. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you. This was awesome. I hope that some people out there will give Pixton a try, and if you do, hit us up on Twitter and let us
Yeah,
know.
we'd love to know.
Y-
I'd love
y-
to know that other people are using this really amazing tool.
Yeah, definitely. Hit Tristan up on Twitter, and let us know. And don't forget to tag Pixton as well.
Yes.
Well, this is good. This was great. I'm going to wrap up the show really quick. So let me share my screen. All right. Can you see my screen?
We can.
All right. So if you want to check out my show, it's at the sweettalk.com. That's SUITE talk.com. And you'll see the latest episode and podcast here on the homepage. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, join my Facebook group, check out my Sweet Talk on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and sign up for the newsletter. If you'd like to be a guest on my show, you can fill out the guest inquiry form. Right now, I'm scheduling for the winter time 2022. That's American winter, not Australian winter. um, so you can also check out the sponsors. I'm so thankful to have my sponsors back me up throughout my mission on paying it forward for the Sweet Talk. I really appreciate their support. And if you'd like to check out any of the past episodes, you can go to the episode page here, and you will be able to find the YouTube channel, the YouTube link, and the show notes. It does load, it just takes a little bit of time. And you can also check out the books that I wrote with Alice Keeler, Teaching with Google Jamboard and Stepping Up to Google Classroom. They're both available on Amazon. So with that being said, I'm going to come back to Tristan. There we are. All right, Tristan. Well, this was a lot of fun, and I'm so thankful that you took the time in the middle of the night there to be on my show. Next time, I
That's all
know.
right.
Next time, I know you want to be on again in January, so we're gonna have to, tweak the time for you a little bit so that it's not in the middle of the night there. I feel bad.
That's all right. That's okay. It's my pleasure to be here.
It was so much fun. Well, thank you everyone for watching and tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.